Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, and Chile make up the western region of South America. Ecuador, Peru, and Chile are bordered on the west by the Pacific Ocean. Bolivia is landlocked, meaning it has no coastline. Lake Titicaca, the second largest lake in South America, sits on the border between Bolivia and Peru. Running through western South America, the Andes mountain range are the highest peaks in the Western Hemisphere. Mount Aconcagua, on the border of Chile and Argentina, tops them all. The Andes are sparsely populated, except in capital cities such as La Paz in Bolivia. The other capitals in western South America are Santiago in Chile, Quito in Ecuador, and Lima in Peru. Like many countries in South America, Peru is a mix of different influences. Indigenous or native cultures, Spanish colonialism, and Catholicism are all blended here. Peru is a rapidly developing country. It has more than 24 million people and many natural resources. But the people, history, and traditions make Peru rich. Ayacucho, a rural city in Peru, draws many people from this region and from all over South America as it celebrates the Christian Holy Week. Semana Santa is a 4-day celebration of Easter. During the festivities, processions, devotional events, dancing, fireworks, and celebration take place as people show their religious devotion and joy. The cultural celebrations of the people in Peru reflect the traditions and customs of the western region of South America.
Bolivia lies in west-central South America. It is bordered to the north and east by Brazil, to the southeast by Paraguay, to the south by Argentina, to the southwest and west by Chile, and to the northwest by Peru. Bolivia is landlocked, but it shares Lake Titicaca, the world's highest navigable lake, with Peru. 1/3 of the country lies in the Andes mountain range, including its capital, La Paz. Bolivia consists of 3 main population groups: the indigenous Quechua, mestizos or people of mixed Indian and European heritage, and Europeans of Spanish origin. 30% of Bolivians are Quechua Indians, descendants of the Inca, who were converted to Catholicism by Spanish settlers. Quillacollo is a small town lying on the outskirts of Cochabamba, the 3rd largest city in Bolivia. An important religious celebration, the Feast of the Urcupiña, attracts many believers and visitors to Quillacollo every August. Urcupiña is one of Bolivia's largest celebrations. People travel to this hilltop to chip off pieces of sacred rock to take with them for good luck. The custom is rooted in the belief that the Christian figure Mary appeared to a shepherd girl on a hill sometime in the 1800s. According to legend, the girl was told that the hill contained riches and that people could come there to pray for miracles. Today, the week-long celebration of Urcupiña includes parades and processions with dozens of dancing groups that keep Bolivia's dramatic dance traditions alive. Urcupiña vibrantly illustrates Bolivia's blend of Catholicism with the indigenous traditions and culture of the Quechua Indians.
Located on the western coast of South America, Peru shares borders with Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, Bolivia, and Chile. Peru is a country of contrasts.
Its vegetation changes dramatically from the coastal plains to the Andes to the tropical rainforests. Life in the country's big cities is a world away from rural areas where people often live without cars or telephones. In this country, the modern mixes with the traditional. Life is changing in this countryside. Let's take a look at how Peruvians are finding new ways to make a living by using natural resources. Peru has a wealth of natural resources. Many people here make their living off the land. Volcanoes that last erupted millions of years ago formed the Andes. Underneath these mountains are volcanic remains. The lava left behind contains rich mineral deposits such as gold, silver, and copper. Maria Alfaros works as a truck driver who hauls mineral-rich soil in the largest gold mine in Peru. This is not traditional work for women, but it does allow her to support her family.
It's helped a lot of women who are also single mothers. This is a great help to us. We are proud to be the first ones. I don't plan to stay here my whole life. I'm planning to save and open up my own business.
At the end of her 8-hour shift, Maria rides the company bus home. The success of the gold mine has brought prosperity to this village. At one time, it was unusual to see cars here, but no longer. In the city of Ica, nestled in the highlands region between the coast and the Andes, asparagus farms thrive. In fact, Peru is the world's largest exporter of asparagus.
Ica is like a giant greenhouse. It never snows. It never rains. It hasn't rained for like 1,000,000 years in Ica.
The peaks of the Andes shield the highlands from rainfall. Farmers tap an underground water supply to make up for this lack of moisture. With water and fertile soil, you can actually see the asparagus growing nearly half an inch an hour. After farmers harvest the asparagus, they take it to a processing plant, and it gets shipped all over the world. In the highlands of northern Peru, near Ecuador, another valuable natural resource lies just below the surface of the earth. For centuries, artists have used the thick, wet clay to make pots. The clay hardens when it dries in the sun's heat or is heated in special ovens called kilns.
These are baked at 950 degrees. This is what it sounds like. In comparison to ceramics made before, these are of much better quality.
These artisans use the ancient method of paddling to transform a ball of clay into a beautiful pot. This family has been producing clay pots for generations. Today, they make pots that are sold around the world. Peru is a land of geographic extremes and rich natural resources. Although many people live in poverty, others are finding new ways to make a living. They are developing industries, improving agricultural methods, and creating products that are sold around the world. The year was 1527. A Spanish ship off the coast of Peru captured a raft filled with fine textiles, silver, and gold. To Francisco Pizarro, the captain of the ship, this floating treasure chest was a sign. The mythical city of gold called El Dorado must exist. But Pizarro didn't realize he would have to contend with the Inca Empire first. The Inca Empire stretched 2,000 miles through the length of the Andes mountain range, covering parts of present-day Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, Argentina, and Chile. Had Pizarro known the Inca armies numbered 30,000, he might have thought twice before invading. About the time of Pizarro's discovery of the gold-laden raft, Inca messengers were relaying tragic news. The emperor was dead. Two rivals fought for control of the Inca throne. Pizarro would arrive just in time to use the power struggle to his advantage. In addition to the Civil War, smallpox, brought earlier by Spaniards, had swept across the continent. Half the empire's population had been wiped out by the contagious disease. Atahualpa, the emperor's son, finally gained control of the throne, but his victory would be short-lived. Francisco Pizarro and his 180 men marched into the heart of the war and disease-torn Inca Empire in 1532. The Incas had never seen horses before, and many were afraid of these strange creatures. The emperor and more than 3,000 of his men went to meet Pizarro, unarmed. It was a brutal massacre. The Inca were no match against the Spaniards, and Atahualpa was taken prisoner. The emperor promised Pizarro 3 rooms full of gold and silver in exchange for his freedom. The Spaniards gladly took the precious metals, but Atahualpa was not set free. The Spaniards executed Atahualpa in 1533. Now under Spanish rule, the Inca people and culture were first subdued and then permanently changed. By 1535, the empire had dissolved. His fortune made, Pizarro built a new Spanish capital, Lima. Eventually, Pizarro's luck ran out. He was killed in Lima in 1541, just a few short years after founding his new capital.
This is the Ilo Valley, a narrow green oasis that was the key to life for the Chiribaya. Located in the southernmost part of Peru, on the edge of the Atacama Desert, the valley was carved and nourished by the waters of the Asmor River. Around the 10th century AD, the Chiribaya settled the entire valley from the Pacific coast to about 25 miles inland. They lived there for more than 500 years, then disappeared. Today, scientists are discovering new evidence of the Chiribaya, a culture that had been virtually unknown even to the modern people of Peru. Archaeologists are finding clues to the past in the Chiribaya's graves. The arid climate and the dry desert sand naturally mummified the bodies of their dead. But not all of the bodies were human. In one grave, archaeologists found a sacrificed llama. Laid to rest in a place of honor, it represents one of the Chiribaya's most valuable resources. From another tomb, they recover the pipes of a flute, similar to instruments still used throughout the region. Another grave yields spectacular ceramic pots, heavily decorated with geometric shapes. These vessels were used to hold water and food. The Chiribaya believed they would need these household goods in the next life. Most tombs have at least one piece of fine pottery, suggesting there was a class of artisans who produced ceramics. Finally, the body of a Chiribaya individual is discovered, wrapped in a dusty red cloth. It seems the Chiribaya believed that preserving the body would allow the spirit to endure, so every effort was made to keep it intact for as long as possible. This individual was buried with typical Chiribaya offerings, including 8 ceramic vessels and the heads of 2 sacrificed llamas. The wool from these animals may have been used to weave the vibrant textiles and pouches buried with the body. By carefully examining such mummies and their artifacts, archaeologists have been able to construct a picture of what Chiribaya life must have been like. During the time of the Chiribaya, somewhere between AD 900 and 1350, the Ilo Valley would have looked quite different. On the banks of the Osmore River, the richest soil was devoted to farming. The Chiribaya irrigated their land by diverting water to a series of terraces where they lived in houses of cane and mud. Here they also buried their loved ones in cemeteries close to their homes. Most of the Chiribaya dead were mummified naturally, without special treatment. But an X-ray has revealed that this body may have been specially prepared as a ritual for burial. Nearly 500 Chiribaya mummies have been examined, and only 7 of those were ritually prepared. This suggests that only important members of the society received this extra care.
Are those leaves?
This is, yes.
That is a leaf inside, there. Coca leaves, sort of coca inside.
Inside the body is a pot filled with coca leaves. The coca is a sacred plant to people of Peru.
You know, coca.
To make room for the leaves, a bit of preparation was necessary. Through an incision in the abdomen, the embalmers removed all of the internal organs, including the lungs, liver, kidneys, intestines, and stomach. They put the small ceramic pot full of coca leaves into the empty cavity, placing it up inside the rib cage. Then they packed what little space remained with wads of llama wool and closed the incision with stitches. Llama wool quickly absorbs moisture, depriving tissue-decaying bacteria of water. Archaeologists think this man was probably 60 or 70 years old. He must have been very important for his people to put so much effort and time into making sure he could still be part of their lives after he was gone. The mummy's date of death was somewhere between AD 1350 and 1450, close to the end of Chiribayan culture. Scientists continue to search for mummies from all phases of Chiribayan history, looking for clues that will provide a more detailed picture of how this culture developed through time.
The longest, narrowest country in the world is named after the Indian word that means where the land ends. Chile stretches nearly 2,700 miles along the Andes down the western side of South America. The mountains form Chile's borders with Bolivia and Argentina. Chile's capital city, Santiago, lies in the shadow of the Andes and in the middle of the country. Welcome to Santiago, Chile. A third of Chile's total population lives in Santiago, more than 5 million people. It is the 6th largest city in South America. Most of the people here are of Spanish and Native American heritage. Santiago is like many big cities in the United States. It has an extensive public transportation system, public parks, a business district, and lots of arts and culture. A square in the heart of the city, called the Plaza de Armas, is a place where friends meet, workers take their lunch breaks, and visitors stroll. And like other large urban areas, Santiago has its share of pollution problems. Just as the Andes shield the Atacama Desert from rain, the mountains also block pollution from escaping. Santiago's location in the Central Valley, shielded by mountains, traps exhaust from vehicles and smoke from industries within the city. Many workers in Santiago commute to work on buses. Chile's copper mines are a natural resource that has brought wealth to Santiago. Copper mines in the hills of the Andes have helped Chile become the world's leading producer of this metal. These mines employ many Chileans. The headquarters for this and other industries, like coal and steel, are in Santiago. The Spanish founded Santiago in 1541, and it became the capital in 1818, the year Chile gained independence from Spanish rule. Today, the Spanish influence can be seen in the architecture throughout the city. The presidential palace and other government buildings are near the Plaza de Armas. The palace, called La Moneda, has been the stage for political uprisings and bombings over the years. Like other cities in South America, most people in Santiago have Spanish backgrounds, or they are descendants of French, Germans, or Italians. Some people are mestizos, a mix of European and Native American Indian background. Spanish culture has survived here from the colonial period. Santiago is a great place to see the cueca, the national dance of Chile. These young people are dancers with the folklorico ballet of Santiago. Musicians play guitars, piano, accordions, and other instruments to accompany the dancers. Sports are part of the culture in Santiago, and the most popular is soccer. You'll find people playing soccer everywhere in Santiago. Kids start playing soccer at a young age here. Informal soccer games are a part of everyday life. Santiago is a center for business, arts, and culture. It is a place where many Chileans find employment and a taste of a modern city in the shadow of the Andes.
Ecuador is located on the equator, and that's where it gets its name. It occupies part of the Amazon basin, and straddles the Andes Mountains. Ecuador is bordered to the north by Colombia, Peru to the east and the south, and the Pacific Ocean to the west. Almost 14 million people live in Ecuador, a country slightly smaller than the state of Nevada. The official language is Spanish. The capital of Ecuador is Quito, which was once the northern capital of the ancient Inca Empire. Quito is located in the north-central part of the country, among the Andes Mountains. Ecuador is home to Cotopaxi, the highest active volcano in the world. Ecuador also includes the Pacific island group of the Galapagos Islands. Part of the 8,010 square miles in the Galapagos was designated a wildlife sanctuary in 1935. The Galapagos Islands enjoy warm and dry weather, with an average yearly temperature of 82.4 degrees Fahrenheit. The islands are home to thousands of plant and animal species, most of which are not found anywhere else on the planet. In fact, life on the Galapagos Islands was studied by the English naturalist Charles Darwin in 1835. Later, he wrote a book called Origin of Species about the theory of natural selection based on his research. The islands are perhaps best known for their giant tortoises, which have some of the longest lifespans of any creature on Earth. Galapagos tortoises can live to be 150 years old. Today, many people visit both the Galapagos Islands and Ecuador because of their vast environmental diversity. Ecuador also has a deeply ingrained cultural heritage and a rich economic potential.
Highest peaks in the Western Hemisphere. Mount Aconcagua, on the border of Chile and Argentina, tops them all. The Andes are sparsely populated, except in capital cities such as La Paz in Bolivia. The other capitals in Western South America are Santiago in Chile, Quito in Ecuador, and Lima in Peru. Like many countries in South America, Peru is a mix of different influences. Indigenous or native cultures, Spanish colonialism, and Catholicism are all blended here. Peru is a rapidly developing country. It has more than 24 million people and many natural resources. Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, and Chile make up the western region of South America. Ecuador, Peru, and Chile are bordered on the west by the Pacific Ocean. Bolivia is landlocked, meaning it has no coastline. Lake Titicaca, the second largest lake in South America, sits on the border between Bolivia and Peru. Running through western South America, the Andes mountain range are but the people, history, and traditions make Peru rich. Ayacucho, a rural city in Peru, draws many people from this region and from all over South America as it celebrates the Christian Holy Week. Semana Santa is a 4-day celebration of Easter. During the festivities, processions, devotional events, dancing, fireworks, and celebration take place as people show their religious devotion and joy. The cultural celebrations of the people in Peru reflect the traditions and customs of the western region of South America.
Bolivia lies in west-central South America. It is bordered to the north and east by Brazil, to the southeast by Paraguay, to the south by Argentina, to the southwest and west by Chile, and to the northwest by Peru. Bolivia is landlocked, but it shares Lake Titicaca, the world's highest navigable lake, with Peru. 1/3 of the country lies in the Andes mountain range, including its capital, La Paz. Bolivia consists of 3 main population groups: the indigenous Quechua, mestizos or people of mixed Indian and European heritage, and Europeans of Spanish origin. 30% of Bolivians are Quechua Indians, descendants of the Inca, who were converted to Catholicism by Spanish settlers. Quillacollo is a small town lying on the outskirts of Cochabamba, the 3rd largest city in Bolivia. An important religious celebration, the Feast of the Urcupiña, attracts many believers and visitors to Quillacollo every August. Urcupiña is one of Bolivia's largest celebrations. People travel to this hilltop to chip off pieces of sacred rock to take with them for good luck.